YouTube, welcome back. Thanks for joining me. It's your brother in Christ, Weston. I have got 3 articles that I'm going to kind of review and skim over. They all have to do with the same thing, and we're going to talk about it from a biblical end times worldview of a beast system. So let's get into it. I got 3 articles. The first article is coming out of Prophecy News Watchers, right? And it says here, they will come for your text messages, fact checkers coming to a phone near you. Now, I'm going to talk about this and then talk about 2 other articles and briefly go over them just to kind of give you a what's going on in the world. It says, reported last week, President Joe Biden took the podium to declare that Americans need to get the free, remember we don't say that word around here because we'll somehow get banned or whatever, I'm not sure why. He didn't just urge Americans to go out and get it, and instead said, we will be going door to door to encourage you to get it. Now, I just did a video on that. It was my previous video of this. You can go check that out and see what that looks like. The document and everything they're going to be using. Now, we need to go to community by community, neighborhood by neighborhood, and oftentimes door to door, literally knocking on doors to get help to the remaining people protected by the thing that's going on. Biden said. The White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki also pushed door-to-door effort in a press briefing before Biden. Naturally, the idea of the government to go door-to-door to encourage Americans to get they have already chosen not to take it doesn't sit well with many. However, much pushback against Biden's plan came in the form of misinformation, with many on the right claiming that door-to-door effort would be conducted by government agents who may try to force on the unwilling. This is patently and verifiably false. For now, that's true, and has given the technocrats the fodder they need to push for even more control, which would also be true. Before going on to the Orwellian next steps of the state, mind you, just go read 1984, George Orwell. I haven't actually read the book myself. I've seen more or less the movie skits of it or whatnot, and it's pretty much just a totalitarian one-world order state, and there's no privacy, you don't own anything, the government owns everything, it's pretty much modern day slavery. And who wants to live in that? I don't know. If you want to live in that, go to Big C. You know who Big C is around here, who we talk about. They got a red flag with like a couple of stars on it. That's about it. It says, before going to the Orwellian next steps of the state, make sure to get your whatever. It's important to point out that the Biden admin plan involves civilian volunteers going out to their communities and encouraging people to get this. Okay, I mean, I'm cool with that. That's fine. Well, this is certainly in poor taste. These folks are not much different than the volunteers going door to door campaign for the political candidate, except the political candidate volunteers don't ask for your status. Instead of the politics, they are encouraging experimental, approved only under the FDA's emergency use authorization plan. Yes, that's true. So we know that said thing is not FDA approved, and it's only approved for emergency authorization. And I think that's coming to an end. Hopefully I'm not speaking out of turn, but I believe that's so. Also in preparation for the coming door-to-door campaign, Lake County, Illinois published helpful hints for volunteers taking part in their community health ambassador outreach door knocking project to increase blank acceptance. You can see, you'll see it on the screen. These helpful hints have also raised concerns among citizens as their handouts include lists with contact information. Now, I showed you that in the last video about what that shows. It's got address and name and property lot, and then it's got like apartments and buildings and suites, all that kind of stuff. That's super concerning that somebody be writing that down of my house. For what reason? To take it back into a government database? Or you're not supposed to be doing that? Or what would you be using that for? That's scary. That's super scary. What is it? These helpful hints have also, raised concerns about the information and check sheets that record blank status, or this status. Again, these folks are not government agents or employees, are working as volunteers only. True. The big misinterpretation that Fox News or whomever else is saying that they are essentially envisioning a bunch of federal workers knock on the door telling you that you have to go do something that you don't want to do. Anthony Fauci said in an interview on Sunday, that's absolutely not the case. It's trusted messengers who are a part of a community doing that, not government officials. So that's where I think the disconnect is. I guess that's Fauci's statement. But Fauci did not address the information that we'll be collecting. Exactly. It's not about the people that are coming. It's about the information that you're collecting. And why are you collecting it? And why do you need it? That's That's scary. And it only leads me to one point. You only want that information because you want to out people, you want to shame people, or you want to put pressure on people. And is that freedom? Is that the American way? Is that infringing on my rights? Are you going to try to limit me from, I mean, that's anybody. It's just anybody. It doesn't matter who it is. Do we do that in America? When you see everything that's happening around in the world with Cuba, South Africa, Europe, any other place, even the past year and a half, and things that are happening now, what flag do they always raise? The American flag. I'm not a nationalist in the sense that, yeah, I'm a Christian nationalist. No, I'm a Christian for the kingdom of the Lord Jesus Christ. I live in America. I'm grateful to live here because it seems like everywhere else, even though we have our own problems and we can see everything rising, this beast system on the surface right now here in America, if it's not already here, is that the Constitution, our inalienable rights, and the way we think about freedom is that everybody else wants the same. They see the value in it, and they see government overreach. I mean, is that wrong of me to think? Now that what I need my government to think for me, right? That's what needs to happen. Let's keep moving. Will this information stay with the trusted messengers and not find its way to some government database? We think not. Exactly. While some concerns by the blank hesitancy crowd are far-fetched, many of them are not. Nevertheless, this admin is now moving even greater lengths to nip this skepticism. Goodness gracious, I can't say it, even though I know I can say it. Skepticism. There we go. In the bud. According to an article in Politico this week, the gloves are off and government is no longer going to sit idly by and watch the masses talk among each other and encourage them to think for themselves. They are coming after your text messages. Biden allied with groups including the DNC are also planning to engage fact checkers more aggressively and work with the SMS carriers to dispel misinformation that are sent over social media and text messages. That is crazy. The goal is to ensure that people who have difficulty getting because of issues like transportation see those barriers lessons or removed entirely. For those who may have just skimmed through above paragraph, read it one more time. First off, fact checking on social media has become a joke and has only served to increase misinformation thanks to the political bias and utter lack of credibility by some folks in fact checking. Secondly, more important than turning the dial on the incompetent fact checkers to 11 is the fact that Politico just admitted the government will be monitoring your text messages via cell phone carriers. Excuse me? Who does this? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't when the one narrative of what's happening in the world is all you see is one narrative across these platforms, right? And they are all screaming this. There's somebody else screaming something else. And the fact that is misinformation, but yet many doctors, many people in white coats, many videos have come out in the past year and a half about the conflicting evidence of what we're seeing. Somehow that doesn't hold weight. But then you've got to also incentivize ways to get people to take said thing is nuts. That doesn't produce any confidence at all. It just doesn't. I don't have any confidence in that. Ultimately, that scares me. And then you're going to try to peer into text messages and go door to door. I've seen this movie, and in this movie or in this history, that came out as people being dragged out of their homes forcefully. I saw, and if I can find it, I'll put it up here. I saw a senator make a statement that people who are not this should not be allowed to work, should not be allowed around their children or something like that. And I've just been saying this for the past year and a half that this is where it goes to. These are the breadcrumbs. This is not just happening. This started January 2020. And so as we continue to get closer and closer and closer, look at where we came from. Look at the ideologies, the mindset, the fourth industrial revolution, Klaus Schwab, everybody talking about there's no normal, everybody do this. I mean, like literally, you have to look at those things and say, they are all a part of this beast system that is something that's coming to pass. And they may know it or not know it, but beyond me, for my lack of not knowing, I think they know it, or they're being manipulated by demons. That's it. That's the only two outcomes. Yeah. Let me finish this article right quick. In the last year and a half, we have gone from 15 days to flatten the curve to complete technocratic police state that has merged with social media to silence anyone critical of government policy, pro-informed consent and hesitancy to take said thing that was rushed to the market, which it was, and improved in an unprecedented amount of time. That's true. What is it? It takes anywhere between 5 to 10 years, or it's 5 to 8 years for said thing to even be approved, or to even go through the trials and the phases. And the fact that anybody would even mention past history, factually, what we've done, and then to go, why doesn't that apply today? Doesn't make sense to me. Why? Because we have more technology now and we can make things faster. Well, if we were making things faster, wouldn't be all these adverse side. I'm not going to use the other word because I'm trying to make sure that I don't get flagged for something about misinformation. I'm not giving any misinformation. I'm giving all information that's publicly, readily available on the interwebs that you can check out. And I'm being logical and critical here on both sides and trying to make a case for it. And you're trying to be convinced about, why would I put myself on something if it doesn't give me the immunity? 100%. But then I got people who are like, hey, if you get it naturally, doctors and videos on YouTube that are coming out that say that articles, you have more antibodies than you would if you got it on the other one. Goodness, I actually think I'm saying too many trigger words here, so I'm gonna try to limit this. What's more is article political illustrates that constitutional rights are completely eroding as well. Government cannot spy on your text messages, social media messages without warrant, yet they are brazenly unafraid to say they will do it just to make sure those dangerous blank skeptics don't ruin their plans. You can read the rest. I wanted to just shout out 2 articles. This one's from Prophecy News Watchers. There's another one here. Surgeon General urges national fight against misinformation regarding, you can see it on screen, says big tech and journalists aren't doing enough. Coupled with another one here, Biden admin, good, I'm trying to watch my words because I feel like I can't even say that. Current administration says it has been flagging problematic content for Facebook to remove. And it says there in that article, I'll put all these articles in here, that they are working with them. And they have been, to censor. And it's crazy. This is what happened with Parler. This is what happened with anybody on the only 2 platforms that are monopolized at this point, Google Play Store and the Apple Store, right? You need somebody else in the competitive market to be able to do that. Parler, when they tried to become when they were actively being a free speech platform, right? They got shut down, and they were being pressed. Amazon was being pressed to take them down and not allow them to come up. Then the CEO was getting set death threats, and then now he's out. He's no longer a part of the organization. I want you to see, this is a Revelation 13 system that is happening. And don't just take this right here is happening in America. Take a look at what's happening around. You got Cuba, you got South Africa, you've got all these heat waves, you've got Big C over there, you got Russia, you've got, just look at the articles about what's happening. Iran talking about uranium up to 90%, enriching that, Russia sending out all these warnings, Big C doing the same. What is it? And then we have America, which I've been saying, you're too free. You're too free. Think about it. You're too free. Why would you go to links to do something like this? How does that make any sense? Make it make sense. You can't. You can't do it without lying through your teeth. This is exactly what a beast system looks like. That's the video, guys. That's all I got for you. I wanted to talk about these things. Ran a little long here. I think it's, I just felt like it was important that you should know. Pray that this video will stand and I won't get flagged for it. And so, yeah, that's it. I will see you in the comments and in the next one.